Manasaivendriya-gramam Sankalpa-prabhavan kamam Tyaktva sarvanaseshataha Manasaivendriya-gramam Viniyamya samantataha. Please repeat. Sanishchayena yoktavyo yogo nirvinna chetasa sankalpa prabhavan kamams sarvana sheshataha manasaivendriya gramam viniyamya samantataha sanishchayena yoktavyo yogo nirvinna chetasa sankalpa prabhavan kamams tyaktva sarvana sheshataha manasaivendriya gramam viniyamya samantataha sanishchayena yoktavyo yogo nirvinna chetasa sankalpa prabhavan kamams tyaktva sarvana sheshataha manasaiva gramam viniyamya samantataha sanishchayena yoktavyo yogo nirvinna chetasa sankalpa prabhavan kamams tyaktva sarvana sheshataha manasaiva gramam viniyamya samantataha. Matajis. Sanishchayena yoktavyo yogo nirvinna chetasa sankalpa prabhavan kamams tyaktva sarvana sheshataha saivendriya gramam viniyamya samantataha. Anybody else? Sanishchayena yoktavyo yogo nirvinna chetasa sankalpa prabhavan kamams tyaktva sarvana sheshataha manasaivendriya gramam viniyamya samantataha. Word to word translations. Saha, that. Nishchayena, with firm determination. Yoktavyaha, must be practiced. Yogaha, yoga system. Anirvinna chetasa, without deviation. Sankalpa, mental speculations. Prabhavan, born of. Kaman, material desires. Tyaktva, giving up. Sarvan, all. Asheshataha, completely. Manasa, by the mind. Eva, certainly. Indriya gramam, the full set of senses. Viniyamya, regulating. Samantataha, from all sides. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Purport. The yoga practitioner should be determined and should patiently prosecute the practice without deviation. One should be sure of success at the end and pursue this course with great perseverance. not becoming discouraged if there is any delay in the attainment of success. Success is sure for the rigid practitioner. Regarding Bhakti Yoga, Rupa Goswami says, Utsaha Nischaya Dairja Tattat Karma Pravartanat Sangatyaga Sato Vritte Sadbhir Bhaktif Prasiddhyati. One can execute the process of Bhakti Yoga successfully with full-hearted enthusiasm, perseverance, and determination by following the prescribed duties in the association of devotees and by engaging completely in activities of goodness. Upadeshamrita, text 3. As for determination, one should follow the example of the sparrow who lost her eggs in the waves of the ocean. A sparrow laid her eggs on the shore of the ocean, but the big ocean carried away the eggs on its waves. The sparrow became very upset and asked the ocean to return her eggs. The ocean did not even consider her appeal. So the sparrow decided to dry up the ocean. She began to pick out the water in her small beak, and everyone laughed at her for her impossible determination. News of her activity spread, and at last Garuda, the gigantic bird carrier of Lord Vishnu, heard it. He became compassionate toward his small sister bird, and so he came to see the sparrow. Garuda was very pleased by the determination of the small sparrow, and he promised to help. Thus Garuda at once asked the ocean to return her eggs, lest he himself take up the work of the sparrow. The ocean was frightened at this and returned the eggs. Thus the sparrow became happy by the grace of Garuda. Similarly, the practice of yoga, especially Bhakti Yoga, in Krishna consciousness may appear to be a very difficult job. But if anyone follows the principles with great determination, the Lord will surely help, for God helps those who help themselves. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utahpada Kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Bhescha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Patitanam Pavane Bhyo Vaishnave Bhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shri Chaitanya Prabhu Mande Bhalopiyatad Anugraha Tare Nana Matagraha Vyaptam Siddhanta Sagaram. So here in text 24, let me read this again. Sa nischayena yoktavyo yogo nirvinna chetasa sankalpa prabhavan kamam styaktva sarvan asheshataha manasaivendriya gramam viniyamya samantataha. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith and not be deviated from the path. One should abandon without exception all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Here in this verse, Krishna is continuing to describe the process of dhyana yoga. So Bhagavad Gita is Yoga Shastra, is a text of yoga. And why is this text special? Because in general, in Vedic culture, people are not interested in yoga, believe it or not. Why? Because most of the time, people in Vedic culture are used to worshipping different, devas, devatas, different demigods, different personalities, including even Lord Vishnu. But the aim and purpose of all their worship and piety is that they have to avoid committing sinful activities, free themselves from sinful activities, and obtain material desires, obtain the fulfillment of material desires. So, the process of yoga, however, is different. Yoga means one is connecting oneself with the Supreme. You see, the whole book of Bhagavad Gita, it's very interesting because here Arjuna has a problem. And if you generally have a problem in Vedic culture and you go to a pujari in a temple, they will tell you to do this puja, they will tell you to do that puja. And you go and, some people will be asked to roll around the temple in, parikram. It's a little different to the Dandavat parikram that they do in Govardhan. This is a practice that's very popular in several places in South India, where one of the things they do is the people lie down and then you circumambulate the entire prakara. Prakara meaning the outer courtyard of the temple. So you have the courtyard of the temple that surrounds the entire temple, and you go and roll around it. And in India, the temples are generally made of stone floors that are not smooth and polished. They're rugged, rough surfaces, and for most of the year it's hot. And so you have to roll on that. By the time you finish rolling, you get bruised. And women do this also. And they have to stretch their body, like this and roll over the ground. It's very painful. So many things. I mean, of course, that's a little extreme. But so many things, so many people are recommended to do. That is what you're expected to do. But Krishna did not do all these things to Arjuna. When Arjuna came up with his problem, said that, I have a big problem here. My relatives, my, friends, my brothers, my grandfathers, my teachers, my uncles, they're all standing in front of me and they all want to kill me. And I don't find anything auspicious in this. So what to do? So Krishna didn't tell Arjuna, okay, you chant this mantra, you chant this stotra, you chant this ashtakam, you break 40 coconuts, and you go and roll on the ground like this, all your problems will get solved. No. Krishna immediately starts to speak about, first of all, he teaches Arjuna, who are you? You're spirit soul, you're not this material body. And the whole point of the Bhagavad Gita is for Arjuna to transcend material desires, understand his position as a devotee of Krishna, understand that the nature in this, that the position in this material world, however good or bad, is temporary, and that the aim of life is to ultimately connect with the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Absolute Truth, the source of everything, Krishna himself. This is the purpose. That, yes, and in the meantime, and so this entire process is called yoga. There are different ways of doing this. There are different processes of yoga, of which, although the processes of yoga all emphasize on understanding the self and getting free from material desires, in Bhakti Yoga, one achieves perfection in understanding one's relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Apart from also becoming free from material desires and also not identifying oneself with the body. So, this process of yoga has to be executed with determination. And it is not that determination is not found, elsewhere. Everybody has determination. Even the ant has determination. If the ant doesn't have determination, it wouldn't crawl all over this floor. For an ant to crawl over this entire room is quite an effort. Because how many steps does it have to take? It has to take so many steps. But it still does it. The ant is determined. There's so many animals that are very determined. You see that determination. Forget animals. Plants are also determined. You will find plants growing out of all these kind of cracks and, crevices, and you'll see them coming out of highways. And you can think what kind of existence that is. But there is some level of determination to push through. But that is not the determination that Krishna is speaking of. Here, he is speaking of a determination to achieve perfection in yoga, to become, for simplicity, to become Krishna conscious. This is the point, that we have to be determined to be Krishna conscious. We are determined to do so many other things, but we have to be determined to be Krishna conscious. So, this subject of determination, Krishna speaks in many places, but I want to speak about one point here in this verse, that apart from executing with determination and not being deviated from the path, right? So it's kind of like a double emphasis. If you're proceeding with determination, you're not going to be deviated. But it's being mentioned in a positive and negative fashion just to emphasize. There is emphasis. Okay, then one should abandon, without exception, all material desires born of mental speculation and thus control all the senses on all sides by the mind. It's very interesting that the word used is that control all the senses on all sides by the mind. Meaning that a yogi is careful of the temptation of the senses from all sides. It's not that just in the direction he's looking, but actually our senses are actually kind of like all over the place. Like our skin is surrounding the entire body. Our ears can hear in whatever direction. Even your smell, you can smell from something from behind, and you will turn, your head. It's almost, what to say. Your eyes are perhaps the only things that look in one direction. And your tongue, yeah, of course, your tongue, yeah. So the senses are very powerful. It's like you may be focused in a particular direction, but many times we hear something and then our attention becomes diverted. It comes from another side. But a yogi is very alert. It's just expressing how alert a yogi is. He's very alert in being able to control his senses from all sides. It's not that, because generally when you want to attack someone, you try to come from behind, or you try to come from a place where they cannot see, they cannot observe, and suddenly it's called ambushing, right? You ambush someone. But a yogi cannot be ambushed. That's a yogi. He can be ambushed. He's very alert. So there are some good examples, but there's always some weakness in different animals. There is some weakness in which they can be ambushed, but a yogi should not. But ultimately we understand that the only way we can really get ambushed is by our own material desires. Material desires will cause us to be ambushed. What is ambushed? Ambush doesn't mean you're expecting something and it happens. You don't expect something and it happens. That's called being ambushed. You're caught off guard. And fall down from yoga is like that. You're generally caught off guard. And if you think a little bit, you think more about it and think of the different examples, it can be quite scary, quite formidable, how Maya can sneak her way through. Maya illusion can throw the most unexpected thing at you. It is like you can't even imagine what Maya can throw at you. It's like from where it comes, how it comes, and the timing is just so perfect. Like, when you want to do something, all that timing, it generally never meets. Like, we want to, for instance, we're in the process of wanting to sign some contract. And I'm trying to fix the damn time, and I'm not getting the time I want. It's like I have a particular time that I want, and it's just not happening. They're forcing me around doing this, and it just doesn't happen. Right? You want to sell your house tomorrow, but it's like the time won't happen. But when Maya wants to put something, the time is just right. It's just right. Everything just kind of falls in place. And the beauty of it, the way Maya illusion works, is that when you actually wanted to enjoy that material desire, nothing will work according to the time that you want it to be. But when you don't want it, right? That's when Maya fulfills the dream. Your dream of dreams is like it's the best of your dreams coming in that. I've always wanted that. And there it is. And what Maya does is, see, if you accept this, then everything in your life will just be just like that. And this is, And this is what is called being ambushed. It's like when Maya ambushes, it's kind of scary. Just like you see these yogis, who are endeavoring for perfection, like Vishwamitra Muni and this and that. When the demigods want to cause them to fall down, so they send this what's her name, Menaka. Menaka is the first one, and then Ramba. No, one, and then second one got cursed to being stoned. Yeah. Ramba is the second one. So Menaka comes, but along with her, spring comes. All the favorable weather comes. All the flowers, everything start blooming. The fragrance comes, and the reason Shastra gives such kind of graphic description is to show that idealistic environment. And what is that idealistic environment? That idealistic environment brings out the conditioned living entity's desire to enjoy this material world. This living entity always wanted to enjoy the material world, but he got frustrated. Okay, you come to Krishna consciousness, I'm so frustrated with material life. I was suffering so much, and everything was so horrible. The association with non-devotees was horrible. Everything was horrible. And you come like that. But then what Maya does is she presents that rosy, beautiful situation that you've always wanted. And see, well, maybe you were just unlucky, but now you're lucky. Now you've become lucky. And here it is. So take it to your heart's content and enjoy. But we forget. And why do we forget? Because we still have within us the seed of material desire. It just needed the perfect environment to sprout. And Maya knows what seed it is, whether it is a seed of a banyan tree, whether it is the seed of a coconut tree, whether it is the seed of what tree. And so depending on different people's situation, you have different seeds of material desire. And Maya knows what is that perfect ripe environment. And she presents it in the seed sprouts because she knows it's there. Krishna knows it's there because Krishna is in our heart. And therefore, that yogi who is not determined, he falls down. Because what is that determination? That determination is, is one who recognizes, this is my material desire, this is me wanting to enjoy material nature, here is Maya coming and tempting me, I'm not falling for your tricks. I'm not falling for your tricks. I'm choosing Krishna because I have enough experience. I know this is illusion. I know your magic. But one who hasn't, with determination, eradicated that seed of material desire, he runs after that. He runs after it and he falls down. But then after he falls down, then the illusion is removed. It's no longer rosy and beautiful and nice and all that. It's gone. And then you go through the grind like you've always gone because that's material nature. And then after some time the yogi, what the hell am I doing here? What have I done to myself? So the yogi is very careful. To be determined, it's very interesting that here you find that determination and faith and not being deviated from the path with being alert of the temptation of the senses and the mind from all sides. Means a yogi is always alert. He's always alert. So, Krishna speaks about determination in multiple places in Bhagavad Gita. Let's see how much we can cover. So you could pull up verse after verse. I've made a list of verses here. So 237. This is the first time that Krishna refers to determination in the Bhagavad Gita. I'm only going to refer to where Krishna refers to determination. Prabhupada has spoken about it so much in his purports. So, Krishna in 237 says, 237, Hato va prapsasi swargam, jitva va bhokshase mahim, Tasmad uttishta kaunte yuddhaya krita nischayah. So Krishna uses two words generally for determination. One is nischayah, the other is drida nischayah, krita nischayah. Sorry, yeah, krita nischayah, and then drida vrataha. Drida vrata. Krishna uses that word. Drida nischaya is also there. So drida, nischaya, and vrata. And some places sankalpa also is used as vow. You know. Krita refers to determined, yeah. In certainty. So here Krishna says, O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly kingdoms, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up with determination and fight. So the process of yoga is fighting. Most people don't like fighting. You know, they prefer to go with the flow. You know, but yogis don't go with the flow, because the flow leads to hell. What is the hell? What hell is that? Hell is where you are suffering because of material desires. Having experienced all kinds of material dissatisfaction and temporary happiness and misery, that is hell. I mean, of course, it just increases more in hell, that's all. But believe it or not, actually, there is some pleasure in hell also. It's stated. There is pleasure in hell also. So it's a question of for a yogi, having material desires is hellish. So therefore, he has to get up and fight. And he has to fight with determination, knowing that there is no alternative. Knowing that that success in this is worth the fight. It's worth the fight. And okay, so and also Krishna, he gives us hope. He says, don't worry, even if you fail, you will again begin. It's not that your progress is lost. You will continue. Therefore, there is no loss. Therefore, why should one not fight? Why should one not fight? Okay, then in the same chapter, famous verse, 244, Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam, taya abhavita chetasam, vyavasayatmi buddhi, samadhauna vidiyate. That the resolute determination, here, vyavasayatmika, fixed in determination, Bhogaishwarya prasaktanam. So, vyavasayatmika buddhi, that people who are attached to sense enjoyment and material opulence, the resolute determination for devotional service to the Supreme Lord does not take place. So, one will not have determination in yoga if one is attached to fulfilling material desires. You see that in this verse also that we just read, that if you don't abandon material desires born of mental speculation, then determination does not arise. Many times, Prabhu, how do I be determined? How do I be enthusiastic? If you are serious about giving up material desires, then you will be determined. Otherwise, why will you want to be determined? Why go through all this trouble? Just go with the flow. So many people are going with the flow, and sometimes after practicing Krishna consciousness, sometimes we look at those people, wow, look, they can just wake up at whatever time they want to wake up, and here I am, always like, one day I wake up and everybody looks at me like as if I'm some fallen, piece of, some useless person, like this. Immediately there's like, oh, there's all this, oh, Prabhu, you're so much Maya, and this and that and all this kind of like words. And whereas other people, look, they're able to sleep nicely, they're able to walk, they eat whatever they want to eat, wherever their tongue drags them, they go, wherever their ears drag them, they go in that direction. Sometimes we also feel, I'm so tired of this, let my ears drag me wherever they want to drag me, let my eyes drag me wherever they want to drag me, I'll just go with it, I'm too tired. You'll become more tired. It's the truth. For some time it will look, sometime it will look okay. Then after that, it's like the difference between the bliss in Krishna consciousness and the lack of it in material life is like day and night. For somebody who's experienced the bliss of Krishna consciousness, it's really hard to forget it. It's really hard to forget that. So, okay, so then skipping over to chapter 7, just want to go over a few verses here. Text 7:27. Of course, there's the famous verse which I didn't note down. That is that Samadhavana Vidiyate. Yeah, what is that? Buddhayo Vyavasayinam. So the resolute determination does not arise for one whose intelligence is many branched. Okay, anyway, so 727 is very nice here. Icha dvesha samutena dvandva mohena bharata sarva bhutani samoham sarge anti parantapa. Oh, scion of Bharata, O conqueror of the foe, all living entities are born into delusion, bewildered by dualities, arisen from desire and hate. So, we are born of, what are we born of? We are born of desire and hate. You know, you are born of desire, and then you have dvesha, hate, which is also anger. So you have kama, krodha, icha, dvesha, and then, kama and kamanuja. So it's the same thing. It's the same thing. You see, it's very interesting how in text you have these two things coming together, desire and hatred, or desire and anger. This comes together. It's like one package, and we are all born into that. We are all born into that. Why? Because dvandva mohena, we are illusioned by the duality of material nature. The duality of material nature, we're illusioned by that. What is that? We're illusioned by this misconception of happiness and sadness. Oh, no, I have no misconception about sadness. My only misconception is happiness. But if you actually didn't have a misconception of sadness, then you wouldn't enjoy temporary happiness. Because with temporary happiness comes temporary sadness. It's literally one package. It's flip sides of the same coin. The moment you try to enjoy temporary happiness, which is not Krishna conscious, you will experience the happiness and you will experience suffering. One who doesn't want to have that suffering will be fixed up. So here, we are all born of this. Oh, we are all born of this. What are we supposed to do? I am full of desire and full of hatred. What to do? I'm so much in the mode of ignorance, I'm so attached to sense gratification. Then Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, he says in literally the next verse, Yesham tvantagatam papam jananam punya karmanam te dvanda moha nirmukta bhajante mam dhridavrataha. He says that persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, and whose sinful reactions are completely eradicated, are freed from the dualities of illusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So, now, sure, there is not much we can talk about piety in our previous lives, or previous life before we came to Krishna consciousness also. There is not so much piety to speak about. So what to do? What to do? Am I going to be in? But then here, there is another one, and in this life. So, Srila Prabhupada asked us to follow the 4 regulative principles. The 4 regulative principles of no meat eating, no illicit sex, no intoxication, and no gambling is meant for us to avoid sinful activities. When these sinful activities are avoided, then one can engage oneself in, one has the opportunity to engage oneself in devotional service with determination. You see, and we've noticed this, for instance, anybody who breaks the 4 regulative principles, we know people who are, for instance, addicted to masturbation. They may be very interested in making money, they may be very interested and they may be very intelligent and in many ways very focused, but they will never have the inclination towards Krishna consciousness. You can't, like they may be associated with devotees and things like that, but they're like numb, like nothing, like the bliss of kirtan doesn't touch them, prasadam, association with devotees, nothing moves them. Nothing moves them, they're like stones. What generally, like, wasn't that ecstatic? He's like, yeah, it was okay. Because when you break the four regulative principles, this is what happens. You break the four regulative principles. Now, but then what about when we first came to Krishna consciousness? Well, there's some mercy. That's mercy of Lord Chaitanya. That's mercy of Srila Prabhupada. We're given some bliss even without the qualification to do so. But after some time, unless you follow, you just, devotional service doesn't become attractive anymore, and they kind of just like, they come for some time, they hang out for some time, and then gradually they move to the periphery, and then whoop, boomerang out of it. When I use the word boomerang because they'll come back some other time, but that could be this lifetime, next lifetime, God knows which lifetime. And they'll come back, and then they'll be given another chance. So this is a very, very important point to understand, that we have to act piously, and we have to become free from sinful reactions. What is our piety? We have no piety. What are we going to do? We have to chant Hare Krishna. We have to associate with devotees. It's not just about following the four regulative principles. We have to follow what Rupa Goswami has said. We have to engage in the process of devotional service. We must chant Hare Krishna mantra. We must dance in kirtan. We must, take Krishna prasadam. We have to read Srila Prabhupada's books. We have to do these things. This is our piety. Devotees ask Prabhupada, what did we do, Prabhupada, to get, what is the question? What did we do to get? And Prabhupada said, I created your good fortune. What was it? Huh? Yeah, you had no piety. I created your piety. I created your good fortune. So yeah, Punya Shravana Kirtana. That this is the devotional service that we are performing. To read Srimad Bhagavatam, to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, to associate with the devotees. All the different processes of devotional service. So this is what Krishna is stating here. That if we do these both, then we have hope. Then we can practice with determination. Okay. Then chapter 9, text 14. So, this Bhagavad Gita is just so ecstatic. This is Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead is speaking. I remember when I first read Bhagavad Gita, I was like, all these are stated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead? It's Krishna himself who is stating this, and we are getting to hear this, recite this beautiful Sanskrit, this beautiful verse. How perfectly composed, how ecstatic. So much knowledge is there in this Bhagavad Gita. Krishna has given this. Krishna is stating this. It was really ecstatic to just meditate on that. And I think, wow, it's like we're getting to hear this. And, so text wording, Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridhavrataha namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. So, always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me, these great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So this aspect of determination, this is where it takes us. It takes us where we are supposed to worship Krishna constantly, 24 hours a day, with determination. What is that determination? He cannot be deviated. This devotee cannot be deviated. This particular characteristic here of this particular devotee, this Mahatma, as Prabhupada describes in the purport, he has no other business, and this Mahatma is convinced in the process of Krishna consciousness, and his conviction is so contagious that the doubtful fellow will doubt his doubts, not the conviction of the Mahatma. This was Prabhupada's potency. Srila Prabhupada, people would come with him with all kinds of challenges. Prabhupada would not only defeat their challenges, not only would he not be affected, they would become affected by him. They would become convinced in Krishna consciousness by him. This is the sign of a fixed up devotee, is that they are able to communicate that spirit of Krishna consciousness to others. And the spirit of Krishna consciousness comes It literally begins as Rupa Goswami is saying, there's enthusiasm and then there is determination. It's very, very important. Without determination, bhakti will not last. Otherwise it's flickering and it does not yield the desired goal. So then, text 930, here Krishna gives some hope, right? Apiche suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavya samyak vyavasito hi saha. So this person, vyavasitaha, he is determined to practice Krishna consciousness. What kind of a person? This person, even if one commits the most abominable action, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly because he is properly situated in his determination. So he is determined to practice Krishna consciousness. And that determination to practice Krishna consciousness, that determination to, what is that determination? Is it just to come hang out with the devotees, but just stay in one position where one is whatever, ganja smoking Vaishnava. And you stay there, you just stay there, and in that way you chant Hare Krishna a little bit, and you also smoke. And is that considered determination? Why? It's also determination, no? Huh? You're not striving for the standard. What do you mean by that? Okay. Okay, I understand. But considering all what we have spoken about determination, what is this determination? What is this apichetsu duracharo? He has committed abominable activities. He's attached to some abominable activity. That's why he's committing it. What is the determination? It is his determination to become free from material desires, which is unfavorable to Krishna consciousness. It is that determination that he will, through the process of Krishna consciousness, someday overcome that problem. Huh? Yeah, it's accidental fall down. So he doesn't want to do it, but there is some lingering attachment is there, and because of that lingering attachment, sometimes he slips and he falls, but he's determined to give it up, and he keeps trying. He keeps trying. So when he is trying, sometimes he may accidentally fall down, but he is considered determined because he does not accept his abominable condition as something that he can live with. He doesn't accept that. He understands. Therefore, he is a yogi. Even though he is falling down, and therefore, what kind of yogi is he? He is bogi. No, he is not bogi. Krishna says he is not bogi. Krishna says he is yogi because he is endeavoring to be a yogi. So, anyways, then finally, going to the types of material determination that Krishna speaks of in Bhagavad Gita, 1833, very nice section. Krishna speaks entirely about determination here. Okay, dhritaya dharayate mana pranendriya kriyaha yogana vyabhicharinya dhriti sa partha satviki. O son of Pritha, that determination which is unbreakable, which is sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice, and which thus controls the activities of the mind, life and senses, is determination in the mode of goodness. So this is determination in the mode of goodness. It's amazing. One thing is, the first quality is that you cannot break it. It's unbreakable. Second, it is sustained by yoga practice. It is sustained by practice of yoga. It's not that, oh, he was born with it. No, he is practicing yoga. Therefore, he is able to sustain that. He is able to sustain that. So, in one sense, it's unbreakable, but it's unbreakable because it's sustained by yoga. Okay. And what does it do? It controls the activities of the mind, life and senses. So, Mana, prana, indriya, and kriyaha, activities. So it controls all aspects of one's life. That is determination. You would think that generally intelligence controls, the mind and senses. But here determination also controls the mind and senses. In fact, it is with determination that the living entity can employ that intelligence. Otherwise, if the determination is not there, then why will you may know that something is wrong. Your intelligence tells you that something is wrong, but you don't have the determination, you'll go and do it. So determination is very important, and determination comes from practice of yoga, and that comes from a desire to achieve perfection. A desire to be Krishna conscious. You have to have desire. That desire comes from the platform of real ego. That real ego is the real identification of that soul, of that living entity. And that real identification that I am a devotee, I cannot do these things. I am a devotee, I cannot do these things. How can I do these things? When I am servant of my spiritual master, I am expected to behave in a certain way. How can I act in an abominable manner? I shall not act in an abominable manner. That's how that determination comes. Otherwise, why will the determination come? Therefore, as long as we identify with this body, that determination cannot be steadfast. Therefore, we have to root out material desires, because material desires cause us to misidentify with the body. Okay, last two verses. Text 35. Yaya swapnam bhayam shokam vishadam madamevacha na vimunchati dhurmedha dhriti sa partatamas. Oh, I'm missing one verse altogether, sorry. Text 34. Yaya tu dharma kamartan dhritya dharayate arjuna prasangena phalakankshi dhriti sa partha rajasi. But that determination by which one holds fast to fruitive results in religion. Guess what? You can be attached to fruitive results in religion, in dharma. Economic development and sense gratification is of the nature of passion, O Arjuna. So many people exhibit this. Whoever is passionate, whoever is attached to sense gratification, the fruits of sense gratification, the fruits of economic development, and the fruits of religion also. Fruits of feeling oneself to be pious. Feeling oneself to be born in a higher caste. I'm born in a higher caste. I'm so elevated. I'm so exalted. I'm such a wonderful devotee. I've executed Krishna consciousness for so many years. All these bachas and bachis and all these people who are there in front of me, that is fruitive result in religion, because it is a concept that comes from religion. We're the chosen people. All kinds of crazy ideas like this. This is rajasic. This is not piety. This is not good. This is not, piety. This is not, this is not sattvic. So this is just, the mode of passion, and it's not spiritual. Text 35. Yaya swapnam bhayam shokam vishadam madamevacha na vimunchati dhurmedha dhriti sa partha tamasi. And that determination which cannot go beyond dreaming, fearfulness, lamentation, moroseness, and illusion, such unintelligent determination, O son of Pritha, is in the mode of darkness. And that is the point. You have some people who are so determined to being moded out, so determined. I will be moded out. I will be lazy. I'll be dull like a buffalo. It's classic example. In India I have seen, it sometimes rains in monsoon like anything. And so this buffalo comes and stands in the middle of the road. In the middle, he is come and he is just standing, and he is having the great time. Because what great time is there? It's dark, it's raining, and and there are cars in front of him, scooters in front of him, and they're all beeping and honking, and this thing is in the street, oblivious, dreaming, illusion. So in this state of dreaminess where one is so oblivious to the misery that one is causing oneself and others. That is determination in the mode of tamas, because you have to be quite determined to stay in that mode of like ignorance, because for many people it's like, how are you like that? Show some life, show some passion. It's like, but there's some people, it's just, you stay like that. And there are entire animals who are dedicated to this kind of, species where all they do is most of the time they just sleep. Their whole life they just sleep. They get up, they go hunt something, eat something, and then they again fall asleep. That's all. Then they get up, they may have little sex, fall asleep. So most of the time they're sleeping. And many times if you go to some zoo, most of the time you'll see a lot of the animals, all they're doing is just sleeping. You go to the zoo and because the impression is, the pictures they put is, you have a shark opening its mouth, or you have some monkey, he opening its teeth up, or something like that. And you go to the zoo, they're all sleeping, And there are entire animals that are dedicated to this. They're just sleeping, And so and then lamentation. There's some people who are just dedicated to lamenting. All they do is just lament, lament, lament. Day after day after day, lament, lament, cry, cry, cry. You cannot give them hope. You can't give them hope. How much ever hope is there? Oh, but that, because always like, I am the victim, and this. It's like, okay, get up, do something, let's do something, and it's like, what do you do? Moroseness, feeling, what is that? You have this negative attitude towards everything, pessimistic, nothing will work. Oh, what is the hope? What is the hope of doing anything? Where to do? What is the point? I don't have any power. I am so fallen. Look at me. Where is the hope? Oh, and again, same people. It's like you can't do much. And that determination where they're just stuck in that, and sometimes you want to slap them out of it, but you can't. You can't. Because it's not skin deep, right? It's stuck somewhere inside. So how the hell are you going to slap it out? It's not on the skin. It's somewhere inside and it's just there and you can't do anything. So generally, so anyways, these are Krishna is explaining these things. Why is he explaining all these things? Because we have all of these three. That's the truth, right? We are affected by mode of, ignorance and passion primarily. Some rare times we are influenced by mode of goodness. Some rare periods we are influenced by mode of goodness. Most of the time we are influenced by passion or ignorance. So we have these characteristics. And when we have these characteristics, if we identify ourselves as aspiring devotees of Krishna, as servants of Srila Prabhupada and his servants, then we will be able to identify that this is not the determination Krishna is speaking of in Bhagavad Gita. This determination I need to give up. And we need to get up and fight. So I'll stop here. Are there any questions or comments? And as Srila Prabhupada says here, finally, he concludes that so the practice of yoga, especially bhakti yoga, may appear to be a very difficult job. But if anyone follows the principles with great determination, the Lord will surely help. For God helps those who help themselves. And Prabhupada also states here that success is sure for the rigid practitioner. Okay, Hare Krishna. Any questions, comments? Yeah.
This is interesting. If you look at the Sanskrit of the words that we're reading, it's Anirvinna Chetasa.
Anirvinna Chetasa.
Anirvinna is actually a name of Vishnu in the Vishnu Sahasranama. It shows up twice. And it means that Krishna will never give up. Anirvinna means Krishna who never gives up.
Yeah.
You know, and Bhakti Vikas Maharaj gave 2 lectures on this name. You know, saying Anirvinna Chetasa can also mean your consciousness being absorbed in Anirvinna, who will never give up on you.
Who never gives up on us. Yeah. Jai. Very nice. Thank you. Okay. Avadut.
Prabhu, you're making this nice point of once you experience the bliss in Krishna consciousness, it's hard for you to forget that bliss. So it seems like one who's had that experience of a higher taste, I still struggle to figure out how it is that that individual may have attraction for the lower taste. Even if you've experienced something superior, how is it philosophically that you become deviated?
How are you attracted to a lower taste after experiencing a higher taste?
Yeah.
Misidentification. When the identification, the higher taste is proof that identification as a servant of Krishna is a blissful position. It is a blissful position. It is a position that is eternal, full of knowledge and bliss. The higher taste gives us it reveals that platform to us. We get a glimpse of the Krishna conscious platform. But as long as the misidentification with the body exists, that lower taste will still seem attractive because the seed of material desire is there, and it gets an opportunity. It's like the weeds, you know. It's like there's so many seeds, weed seeds, and you may rip all the weeds out, and then more weeds crop up because seeds are there. You didn't see them, and it looked like everything was cleared, but then it crops up when the time is right. So as long as that material, as long as the misidentification is present, which is why one should be very, very conscious to root out material desires. Because how do you know that you're misidentifying? You know you're misidentifying when you see that attraction to the lower taste. As long as that attraction still exists, we are still misidentifying with the body. And therefore, the practice of yoga is where you have to consciously identify yourself with Krishna. You have to bring your consciousness back to that identification. This is not good. This is not good. This is a waste of my time. This is a waste of my life. Why do I want to do this? No. This lifetime, let me serve Krishna. I have given myself to Krishna. Let me serve Krishna. This one lifetime. So many lifetimes I have tried to fulfill my material desires, but it didn't work. Still I have this lower taste, but when you see that lower taste, that's the identification. But most of the time what happens when that lower taste comes, you know, first we see and then we turn our face away, then we look again, then we look again, and then we start meditating on it. And we meditate on it, you meditate, and then, you know, then the whole process starts. Dhyayato vishayan pumsan sangasteshu bhajayate. And then that meditation begins, and then, you know, sooner than you know it, you've started indulging in these lower tastes. So instead of giving ourselves to that, using the identification, you know, we have to turn ourselves away. Now this is why a devotee needs to pray for the mercy of Krishna. Because ultimately all this is not possible without Krishna's mercy. Which is why we are advised to chant good rounds. Because if at japa we are able to somehow do that, bring our minds back to japa, bring our minds back to the chanting, then there is some hope that we will do it in other circumstances also. If we are not focusing on Krishna when we are chanting our rounds, then how is it going to be possible? Okay, All right, it's 7:35. We'll do 10 minutes of kirtan. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo cha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.